This is Stanford's Center on Democracy, Development, and the Rule of Law podcast. We are studying why governments fail. We are going to talk about economic and political development at home and around the world. Today you are listening to
Francis Fukuyama, the Mosbacher Director of the Center on Democracy, Development, and the Rule of Law at the Freeman Spogli Institute of Stanford University.
Welcome to the CDDRL's Democracy World.
I'm here with Marryam Khan. Marryam, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and your background?
So I am from the Pakistan Administrative Service, and I work across Pakistan because I'm a federal government employee. And presently, I'm working as the Director General CVE and Policy Implementation at the National Counter Terrorism Authority, Islamabad, Pakistan. My present job portfolio relates to devising policies for countering violent extremism. And I am also, for 1.5 years, I've remained the focal person in charge at the federal level for coordination and implementation review of the status of the National Action Plan Against Terrorism, which was conceived after the Army Public School attack 2014 by an all-parties conference. So that's precisely what I do presently.
So I take it that the actual number of incidents of terrorism have fallen quite substantially in the last few years. Could you say a little bit about that and what it is that has led to that?
Yes, I would like to give you a short background. So if in 2014 we stood at somewhere 1,800 plus incidents of terrorism at the close of 2015. And then the most horrific, all these human suffering is always painful, but the most horrific of them, which I would never be able to wipe out from my memory, was the Army Public School attack, where around 141 people, including 132 children and then teachers, lost their lives. And so what happened, I felt that the entire government, the military, the civil establishment, the civil society, and even the international community, they extended support to us, and all these three elements within our state came together. And all the parties met across the board. They met to devise this National Action Plan Against Terrorism. Here I would like to mention that we have been in this state since quite some time, for over a decade. And it is of utter surprise and a little worrying that we did not have any kind of plan to fight terrorism or extremism in our country. So it was only in 2014 that we first got our National Internal Security Policy, which was pre the incident, before the 16th December incident. Then the second thing was that we got the National Action Plan. This was after the incident. It's a very it's a consensual document. All these political parties, the military, the civil bureaucracy, everyone agreed to it. And then it's not a very detailed document, but it pinpoints the problems plaguing our society. And then what happened, that a very robust mechanism of implementation was established at the provincial level and at the federal level. And there were interlinkages between them. So civil and military, they both came together, kinetic and as well as soft responses, were on parallel, going on parallel. So I believe that it's not just, you cannot pinpoint one factor. There are cumulative factors responsible for it, and then very, very integrated coordination.
I see.
That is why we are where we are. So from around 1,800 plus in 2014, as I talk with you, it's less than 4,000. And it's not, these numbers are not just terrorist incidents. These include many kinds of attacks, even landmines or any kind of small blast in which no loss of life is there.
I see. Because in many countries this is really a male domain, and there's a lot of tough guys that are on the front lines of this. How did you arrive at this job in the first place?
So I would, it might be a little irrelevant, but my academic background is in political science. So I have a little bit orientation of all this. Then my I've seen it at my place. My father remained the judge of anti-terrorism courts, so I knew a little bit about what's going on in my country. But it was my first posting on the 25th of April 2007 as Assistant Commissioner City, where I had this executive and quasi-judicial role in a particular in a particular territory, which was the city subdivision at that time. And on the 3rd of July 2007, the operation against militants who were trying to create a state within state started.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was the civil officer who was the first field point contact at that time.
I see.
So that's how I came into contact, and then it continued from there. And then somehow I developed an interest, and I realized that this is some kind of perhaps an existential threat facing our society.
Mm-hmm.
And I have remained involved, and I've been working extensively in that area since then.
Tell me a little bit about the Pakistan Administrative Service. This is an elite service. You have a special training. What kind of background did you go through, or did you need to have to get to where you are?
So the Pakistan Administrative Service, despite many setbacks, despite many changes in its original structure, remains one of the central, it remains the backbone of the civil service of my country, of Pakistan. The primary reason which we cite as to why it is enjoys such importance is because it has got this horizontal and vertical mobility. So we work across departments,
Mm-hmm.
across the country,
Mm-hmm.
in field and on desk assignments and
you're
policy
trained
making.
you're trained as generalists.
So we are trained as generalists, and we undergo this rigorous training where they ensure that the best possible people in the country, they come and train us for over almost 2 years, including field training, field attachment. So yes, it is, and only the people who have a certain kind of, they secure certain positions,
Mm-hmm.
only they are preferred to enter the service.
What percentage of the service are female?
When I joined in 2004, I had one more colleague who was with me, and I was amongst first 19 boys. I was the only girl at that time. But now if you see, so it's almost it has radically changed. We had this policy in which they gave a certain percentage, essential percentage, you may call it quota, to women, because they were seen as somewhat marginalized in this civil service. So now the percentage is almost half, 50-50.
Really?
Yes.
That's
so
very
it's a
interesting.
very positive development. There are lots of women, and you have got many women holding field positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I see. So what are your hopes in general for Pakistan? Are you broadly optimistic about the future of the country? It's been a very troubled place for some time, but it does seem to me that you're making progress in quite a few areas, including, your own.
Well, I'm essentially an optimist by nature. But other than that, if I also evaluate the ground situation, if I see, which I have a chance to see very closely, we have been able to achieve somewhat political stability in our country. There are many policies which have got a long-term objective, which are there. We are doing better economically, and even in the energy sector. And then the security situation, which was our primary concern, has stabilized a lot. Here I would like to cite the example of Karachi, which had remained a hotbed of many problems. And the incidence of terrorism and also crime has gone down phenomenally in Karachi. And the situation is same in many parts of the country, but there is a lot more to be done. And if we stay on the path which we have chosen for last few years for ourselves, so I believe that we will be reaching a more stable future, hopefully, inshallah.
Good. And just to finish up, how have you felt about participating in the Draper Hill Summer Fellows Program?
Well, I would like to thank you. I would never thought that someone like you would actually respond to me, so thank you so much. You've been very kind to me. And I'm taking a lot from here. So my first lesson is that our actions, my small actions, are not in isolation. So I am able to see the larger picture now. There's so many things which we affect when we take these steps. So I am developing this ability to see the larger picture. I will try from here onwards, I would try more that I am able to look ahead for future in my policy making. And then I am taking back a lot of learning, and I feel that in 3 weeks I've been introduced to many new things, and I've realized that there's a lot to learn. So in all, I am really thankful, and I'm really happy that I've
Good.
been
Well,
here.
we're really happy that you've been part of the program for 2017, so thank you
so
very much.
Thank you so much.